Yeah. How you doing tonight, Gray? Oh yeah. What'd you make, dude? Cool. How many calories does it say that you need to bulk up? Wait, they can't hear you? Oh yeah, I don't know. I can't even see the chat because we're doing this through Discord, so no worries. But yeah, Susan, for the guys in the chat, Susan apparently doesn't like it when you make fun of the LGBT rainbow mafia.
Okay, test test 1 2. Do I have a mic that's working now? Chat. What do you guys say? You pop a one in there if you can hear me. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So, okay, sweet, sweet. Yeah, it was a microphone assignment issue. All right, we're all good. Yeah, a little over 3K a day between height, weight, and the level of work that I do on a daily basis. Yeah, you've got like 50 pounds on me, man. So, yeah, honestly, so much of it's the appetite thing. Like, I'm used to eating like a bird and getting by on very little. So, realizing that I got to eat a shit ton of food every day. Yeah, so I'm still finding the balance, but getting from 2 to 3K was a good starting point. Now, yeah, I'm actually seeing chat asking if I'm going to do papers, please again. Honestly, I might, guys. I'd set up a community poll, but I need 500 subs before I can make community posts. So, bug your friends or something. Yeah, well, you were putting out like really base shit at a several times per day basis. Oh, geez, now they're saying they can't hear you? Like, what the heck's going on here? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it says you're going through on the Discord audio thing, so I don't know what's up. Hmm. Only get one panel member at a time. This is annoying. It seems that way. Maybe I'll just turn on all the audio tracks here. Still getting used to OBS, and this is my first conference call, so.
I've never used OBS. Is it just like a lot better than StreamYards, pretty much?
Well, the thing is, a lot of stuff that's filtered through StreamYards ends up going through OBS as well. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we should make sure they can hear both of us before we get into the main topic.
Yeah. Oh, I clicked a whole bunch of channels on because I think that might have been the issue. So I'm seeing a thumbs up now. So Gents put a one. Oh yeah, yeah. It was a channeling issue. So yeah, we're good now. I figured out what was wrong.
Dope. So now that you got your calories on point, what are you doing for your workout program? Are you just doing calisthenics or?
Well, I've got the free weights around the house. Got some bands I'm working with, calisthenics on top of that, but also like my regular workday work is pretty intensive as well. So I'm gonna end up bulking just from that work alone.
Yeah, you probably will gain a little bit of size from that, but you want to make sure that you're hitting your compound movements. Now, you're just working out at home, not at the gym, right?
Yeah, not quite jumping to the gym yet, though I might
Yeah,
be able to within a couple weeks.
I would try to get stronger on, you got a dip bar, right?
Yeah, got the dip bar.
Yep, dips, chin ups, and squats. I would focus on getting strong on those three movements. And since you're kind of like a beginner too, dude, your body should just like, you'll start gaining muscle fast if you just stick with those three movements. Maybe after those three movements, if you want to do some dumbbell curls or something, do that. But I would focus on those three movements since that's all you really, because you don't have like a full gym. So
Yeah, well, I've got all the equipment to do those three, no problem. But yeah, I know Yumjoy. The avatar is pretty swole. The problem is the meat sack can't quite handle its power, so I gotta bulk the meat sack up to make it fit the ghost.
yeah, for the longest time, I thought your character was like an electric elemental or something.
Sentient Kush Smoke, but hey, you're saying that Kush Smoke can't make thunder and lightning.
Chronic blew some smoke rings and it turned into you.
Hey,
But
probably had one of the Gandalf style puffing where he makes a whole model ship.
hell yeah. But yeah, dude, just stick with the workout stuff, and before you know it, man, you'll start seeing results. It doesn't happen overnight. So when I started working out, I mainly started with calisthenics. I started working out in prison because it was fucking do or die, look big and intimidating, or get fucked up. So
Actually, question from Goshura. Hermit, what if we're too heavy for chin ups? What would you say to that?
you would have to lose weight, and I would do Australian pull-ups. If you don't know what that is, Google it or put it on YouTube. But a lot of guys, they either don't have the body strength to do pull-ups or chin-ups, or they're just too heavy. Do Australian pull-ups and then get a band. So you put the band on the pull-up bar and you get used to doing it that way. And then eventually the next progression is just doing it with your body.
All right, sure. I hope that made sense. And yeah, tragic comedy face and a cloak. Yeah, that's what I had when I was joining up with Yidis, but this is my warband form, so I guess now you get to see what was under the cloak and mask this whole time.
Hell yeah. But yeah, dude, I figured this would be a good topic because I was at my dad's house earlier and we like got in the topic of like fucking single moms and like sort of like red pill stuff, and I tried to like break it down, and yeah, dude, it was basically just like talking to a wall.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a man too. Like, of course, imagine trying to tell this to a woman. Like, if a man's a brick wall, like you're basically trying to nail jello to shit when you're trying to talk to a woman about it.
Well, see, my dad, he doesn't realize how bad it was. Like, my mom abandoned me when I was 13, and she didn't try to get custody of me and my brother or anything. So my dad kind of got it easy because she kind of just walked off, did her own thing, and didn't try to get a whole, custody or child support or alimony or anything. So he never went through the ringer like a lot of guys did. So he just thinks like, I'm being paranoid because I won't get married. And it's like, dude, I ain't trying to get married and fucking lose everything I worked hard for. Like a lot of the guys in the chat, I know a lot of them know me, but some of them don't. Like I just bought property on the big island of Hawaii. I'm fucking planning my off-grid move. It's like I don't want to work everything I worked so hard for just because some bitch says I'm not happy. Fuck that.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I've noticed just kind of looking into the older generations and the boomers. They don't seem to trust anything that they can't themselves experience or at the very least see to a certain extent. Like you'd have to get like the courtroom footage in front of him and the actual testimony from these men and women before he'll believe it's real.
Yeah, I was trying to tell him, like, dude, these girls tell on themselves all day, every day on TikTok, posting their bad behavior. And he's like, oh, that's just some women. And then I'm like, the stats for single moms. So fucking most men in prison raised by single moms. Most school shooters, every school shooter but one, raised by a single mom. And then my dad was like, well, I was raised by a single mom and that didn't happen. I'm like, yeah, there are exceptions to the rules. And now he just thinks I hate single mothers, which I do, but I have a good reason for.
Yeah, and that's usually what ends up happening. Like they get into this because I think you can give all these extra stories and the stats, but the older generation, they're not used to that kind of thing. They need to have it experienced. Like this was one of the most telling things when I was looking up some of the economics of like baby boomers and housing. Was this one guy, he kept getting criticized by his dad for not managing his money correctly. So then one day he brought in his paycheck and all his bills and asked his dad to help him budget. And his dad didn't criticize him after, but apparently just quietly whispered, there's something wrong. There's something wrong here. So that's the thing. Like they don't get it. They need to see it firsthand. You can tell them a million stories, show them a million stats. If they don't experience it at the very least through some kind of television style medium, they're not going to believe it.
No, they won't. And it just like that's why you just like gotta change the subject because you'll just like fucking pull your hair out trying to convince these people.
Yeah, and the other problem is that the older generation, at least from what I've seen, by and large, they don't think there's anything new to learn from the younger generation.
Yep. Another thing that my dad said that kind of made me cringe earlier was I kind of brought up the state of the economy and he's like, "Oh, it's just like 2008." I'm like, "No. This is far worse than 2008."
Yeah, like there weren't people flooding across the southern border in the hundreds in 2008.
Yeah. He just like, "No, that's not what the mainstream media told me."
Like, yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that they told you everything was fine up until 2008 happened.
Yeah, he's just now admitting Biden was a horrible president. And I'm like, "Yeah, you think?"
God, like the amount of fucking. You realize that if we kept a fucking quarter in a jar for every time we got to say "I told you so," we'd probably have made a couple $100 in the past 2 years.
Yep. So do your parents, like my parents, do it from time to time, but not as much anymore? Ask me about like marriage and children and stuff. Do your parents still bother you about that?
No, I. The thing is, I did have like a relationship with a girl a couple years back that was getting pretty serious, like to the point where introduced to the parents, brought over for holidays, kind of deal, and that ended, and they don't know the details, and they haven't asked. But a lot of them, both of them, they're just very much self-centered like they focus more on their own lives. So like they're honestly more concerned with their own shit than they am with mine.
Yeah, for me, it was getting to the point where I stopped introducing women to my family because a lot of these girls, yeah, I would hang out with them, I would hook up with them, we would have fun, and then like a month later, they wouldn't be around anymore because they decided to go be whores. And then my dad would be like, "Oh, what happened to so and so?" And then I'm just like got sick of fucking explaining the situation every time.
Yeah, no, I honestly they wouldn't even get it, and for me, they just don't care. Like that's the simplest way to put it. Like they just don't care. They have their own shit that they're dealing with, and like my dad has by and large finally accepted that like he does not know near enough about the world to tell me things. Like I've been getting in arguments with him for well over a decade, and I can argue fucking circles around him and bring out points because that was the frustrating thing when I was way younger. Was he was trying to tell me like I've been around a while, I know a thing or two. He couldn't explain shit, and most of the stuff is like you don't know that. You just heard someone tell it to you on the radio and you're regurgitating it. You're not
Yeah,
smarter just because you choose radio over television.
Yeah, that's how my dad is too, because he's older. And like when I was younger, I kind of fucked up and I like went to prison and I got out and I got my record clean, but he just assumes he knows more than about everything. And I remember one time we got into an argument about something, and I remember he tried to back it up with the fact checker, and I just started laughing in his face. I'm like, for real? You're gonna use the fact checker?
No, actually, what was really funny was like back when I was blue pilled and a little more supportive of the LGBTQ, and my dad's very much against the LGBTQ, which I get, but he made the argument that like we were arguing about marriage, and he said like, well, the point of marriage is to support the child, and so I fired back, well, then they shouldn't let infertile women get married. He had nothing to respond to that.
Oh, dude, if I would have said that, my dad would have started freaking out. I kind of like a long time ago during a camping trip brought up how women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Oh man, that turned into a shit show.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, like, my dad's dropped enough. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like he's absorbed some red pill stuff, but he doesn't put it together in the larger sense. That or he has, but he's just not capable of saying it all. So I'm hoping to go on a trip with him sometime within the next year or so, and hope maybe we'll actually be able to talk about it there. But I'm gonna, test the waters, start with some of the lighter stuff before going right to the TFM style.
Yeah, during the camping trip, I went straight up TFM. Women shouldn't be allowed to vote and all this shit. And he just like was like, "Don't ever fucking tell anybody that." Blah blah blah. And I'm laughing about it, but like your average normie, like you can break it down how fucking women voting got us to how, all the bullshit we're dealing with now is because women voting. Women vote for the left. Women vote for the left because the left panders to them and gives them all this free shit. But when you try to break that down to a normie, they're just like, "Oh, you hate women." And it's like, I don't hate women. I just don't want them to vote because I don't want to fucking pay for single mothers' bastard children.
Yeah, like if it was, if we didn't have to share an economy with them, if we weren't subject to the same laws, hey, by all means, let them vote for their own freaking subset of laws. But why should their laws get to dictate my life when they've taken away all authority?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. They can't let you leave the plantation because men are net taxpayers. Women aren't net taxpayers. So, when men opt out of the system is in big trouble, and men are opting out by the day. Like me, for example, fucking getting off grid, and I'm gonna do the bare. Like, you're never gonna fully be able to opt out of the system unless you go Amish or something like that. But I'm gonna do everything I can to opt out as much as I can.
And even the Amish pay their taxes. That's why they do have to earn money, because they do pay their property tax, and they probably pay some kind of income tax on the stuff that they sell. But it's very minimal compared to, what your average normie would pay.
Yeah, definitely. Another good thing about Amish is they keep their pimp hand strong. My dad's got property up north. I'll be driving the dirt bikes around. You'll see like 7 kids playing outside and shit.
Well, no, that's kind of the funny thing, because the Rumspringa,
Yeah,
it's basically,
Rumspringa.
yeah, Rumspringa. Like, that's basically the, I don't know, week or weekend or however long it is, where the Amish women get to be complete fucking whores. But they get
I
it
think
once and then that's it.
I think they get to venture off into the world for 2 years. I'm not 100% sure. Every community might be different, but it's between the ages of 16 and 18, and they'll go off out into the world. And yeah, basically, they just are giant whores and they do all the drugs. And most of them come back because if they don't come back, their whole family shuns them.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, let's be completely honest here. It's unlikely that even the Amish get virgin brides these days.
They probably have a better chance than we do, though.
Yes, better, but I'm willing to bet that it's less than 50%.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really I've seen the Amish, but I've never really talked to them or anything. So
I think part of it too is like they don't really have a good mechanism for divorce. They don't have the family courts.
I'm
So
pretty
like,
sure their women only get an 8th grade education too.
yeah. So that's part of it. Like, it'd be interesting because the Amish, like with the Rumspringa, that would indicate that yes, while virginity is absolutely important to keeping a marriage together, as we can see with even the modern stats in the modern world with all the modern advantages. But you take out the family courts, I'm willing to bet that you'd see the divorce rate fucking plummet.
I honestly don't know if there's anywhere left in the world unless it's like a Middle Eastern country where you can find a virgin bride. Feminism is spread all around the world like a cancer, dude.
Yes, yes, it spread.
I even seen a video the other day of this chick from the Middle Eastern getting her fucking back blown out in school when she was 13, got sent back to her country in the Middle East, and was still being a whore over there. She was 19 in the video I watched, but she looked 37. All that cock made her hit the wall super hard.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to, like, no matter, there's always been whores. Even in like the hardest patriarchy, there have always been whores. There will never not be whores. So
Yeah.
you're always going to find them. They're always going to be out there. It's always just a question of what percentage of them exist and what percentage of them manage to get into a family to breed.
And you got to admit, it's hard when we live in a society where you're stunning and brave if you're a whore. So,
Yeah. Like, honestly, this, like, it's the thing that I've noticed more and more with the social media is like women, they tend to speak things into reality. Like, they imagine something, then they speak about it, and then they treat it as though it's real.
yep. And dude, social media has made them so bad. I remember like when the dating apps first came out. Like, remember when the dating apps first came out, if you went on them, people would be like, you're weird, and it was kind of like a stigma against it. Well, like when they first came out, dude, I was like getting mad poon. And now, like today, you'll fucking 100 swipes. You're lucky to get one date. And it's just like they're so spoiled. They have an unlimited options So it's like, unless you're like a fucking giga Chad, don't even waste your time with the dating apps.
Yeah, it's that was kind of thing. Like back in the day, it was understood like this is for hookups, and plus I think region was a major thing because it was basically like you're just going for whoever's local in your area, so the pool was a lot smaller. Nowadays, it's become so much more of a validation. Like you can even be a giga chat, and that just boosts your options. But there's plenty of women that'll just go there for the sole purpose of getting the validation. They have no
Oh,
intention of
dude,
actually swiping.
there there was this girl in my neighborhood. Um, I knew who she was. I knew her boyfriend. I wasn't friends with her boyfriend or anything. He was like a simp, and I didn't really like him. But she was on fucking Tinder, and I'm like, "What are you doing on Tinder? Doesn't your boyfriend know you're here?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just on here for attention." An hour later, she's over my house sucking my dick. I'm like, "Oh yeah, just on here for the attention, huh?"
Yeah, well, I'm willing to bet that the dopamine high for attention's a lot stronger in person.
Yeah, like I do much better in person than I do on dating apps. And I'm a pretty in shape guy too. Like I do personal training part time on the weekends. I've been working out for probably like at least 8 years. And fucking even me, I don't do that great on dating apps. And it's gone to the point where it's ridiculous now,
Yeah.
which is like a lot of these girls, if they seen me in person and if I were able to strike up a conversation with them, it would go a lot smoother. But it's like, why go for me when there's fucking 10 other dudes better than me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, and like honestly, it's kind of like I'm nowhere near good as shape as you, but like I've like when I've been out in public, like I've had women like come up to me and introduce themselves to me. Not often, but it's happened every now and again. Whereas like I've never had a follow through date on like Tinder. Like the closest was I had a meeting set up and then she just completely flaked.
Oh, the
So
flaking epidemic is crazy, dude. There's this I got a friend at work, he's 23, and he was like depressed and like I don't want to say suicidal, but he was like pretty close and he thought something was wrong with him because he's like, I just don't know what to do. I'm 23, I've never gotten laid, I've never had a girlfriend, blah blah blah. And I told him about the red pill. I got him to listen to Chronic, Yeetus, and a bunch of other guys, and he was like, he told me like a couple weeks ago, he's like, dude, you probably saved my life because I know it wasn't me because he thought the problem was him. And there's nothing wrong with him. He's an average guy. He's not like fat or anything. He's in decent shape. He's got a beard. He looks like the kind of dude where, he would do okay with women, but he wouldn't get every girl. And it's just ridiculous, dude. Your average guy is invisible to these women.
yeah, and that's the frustrating thing because so many guys like I really do blame a lot of shows for this kind of stuff because they like teenagers get paired up all the times with people their same age. Doesn't matter whether it's Western cartoons or anime or live action. Basically, for every man, there's some sort of female equivalent that for some reason wants to be with them, and they're usually of approximately equal social standing. That's not how the real world works in the slightest. So these guys go around thinking that there must be something wrong with them. And that's another difference that I've noticed between men and women. Like men, we like to have control over our lives, control over our situations. So if something's going wrong, we'll assume that it's us because that gives us control and something that we can do over it. And it actually is pretty hard, and guys need to be told, no, it's not your fault. Then that's not an
Yeah.
excuse. That's not trying to diminish your responsibilities. Like, no, straight up. It's actually not your fault.
I know, and the crazy thing is, in normal situations, when people say that, you're like, no, it's my fault, blah, blah, blah. But in this instance, it's like, no, it's actually not your fault. I remember before I found the red pill, I got red pilled at about 27, And like, I would like have girlfriends and stuff and I would go on dates, but I wanted like a serious girlfriend, and all the girls I dated would end up cheating on me or being whores or something would happen, and I would think it was me, and then after I found the red pill, I'm like it wasn't me. Like I remember picking through Sandman's videos, and I was like, holy fuck, that happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me. Everything that we talk about in the red pill MGTOW community manosphere, I've experienced in my life. That's how I knew that this community was for me and they weren't lying to me.
And that's really the reason why the red pill in the manosphere keeps growing so much, is because women have not changed their behavior. They're acting the exact same. Guys are getting the same experiences. And so they go out looking for answers. And then they find people who don't know them giving explanations.
Well, yeah, if
And
you think about it, all this is just men comparing notes.
basically, yeah. And it's comparing notes on a scale that they haven't before. But it was actually one of RPM's videos that always sticks out in my mind with this, because he was talking about like when he went into therapy, like when his relationship was going south with his meat sack. And the one thing that the therapist told him that stuck with him was, her actions are not your responsibility.
I'm surprised he got a therapist that wasn't a raging feminist. From what I hear, most of them are raging feminist.
Yeah, honestly, it probably depends a lot on where they get educated. Like, most of them are going to be simply because you can't get into extended post secondary these days without being a raging feminist. And most of these therapists, like, I would not trust, like I say, I straight up just don't trust them. But every now and again, yeah, you do meet a decent one and you get to hear these kinds of stories. So, but like, that was the key thing, is like, men need to process in order to deal with the bullshit. Is they first need to understand her actions are not your fault.
How old were you when you found the red pill, Gray?
Um, Mid 20s. Really wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things.
Was it around? I found it at 27. Was it before or after that?
Honestly, about right about the same time, like 27, maybe 28.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, me, you, Real Talk, and Black Wolf, we're all like the same age, which is crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, successful. Gray factions are not your responsibility. Then why did the court saddle you with her student loans? Well, that's very much because they know she can't pay and the government needs to collect somehow.
Yep, and if you pay off her student loans, you elevated her sexual marketplace, and she's gonna leave your ass. Just like these guys where they buy their girlfriend a new set of tits, and then she fucking leaves after. He's like, no, I spent 20 grand on them titties, and now some other fucking dude's motorboating them.
Yeah. Although, this was something Chronic said that, like, was when he had a friend who was dealing with a breakup, and I think that this is something that a bunch of guys can probably like take to heart. It's like, look, if you got her when she was young, no guy after you is going to have as good as you had. She's not going to get any younger. Doesn't matter like if she has like less debt or bigger tits or whatever, she's older. You got the higher quality. They're getting your leftovers.
Yeah, and for some reason that kind of reminded me of my blue pill alpha friends. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of the term blue pill alpha. We talked about this on Yeetus's stream a while back, but basically the blue pill alpha is the guy who's like the Chad or the Giga Chad. He's got good genetics. He's got a good job. Basically, just like a good hand in life. Well, I got two friends that you would fall into this category. My one friend looks like fucking Tom Hardy's stunt double. They're like fucking, like, I'm a pretty strong guy. These dudes would fold me in half. And one of them fucking wifed up a 37-year-old single mother and got her pregnant. And then the other one fucking like wifed up a 40-year-old broad and got her pregnant. And I'm just like, dude, why? With your guys' physiques, you should be never touching a girl that's above 24. And it's like, I just don't fucking get it.
No, I see it too. Is like these guys who were apparently major poon slayers, jacked as fuck when they were younger. Somehow they all end up with a fucking short, fat, irritable women. And it's like,
No, these guys I know, they're still jacked and they're about my age. They're our age and fucking wifing up 37-year-old single mothers. The one chick brought her kid to the gym and she was kind of like hitting on me. And like for her age, she was okay because she was a gym thought, so she was like in the gym hard, but still 37-year-old single mother, not interested. And then my friend was like, "Oh, I'll fucking wife that up." And I'm just like, "Bro, like my one friend benches close to 400 pounds, is like a fucking legit bodybuilder, and it's like, why are you settling for this? You think it's just because men? You think it's just because men don't know their worth today, or?
oh well, that's definitely part of it. Men definitely undervalue themselves because, like, let's be honest, value these days is largely determined like by the woman. Like old age and experience is not treated as very valuable. And then you look in the media today, like all the valuable men are simps. If a man's deemed to be of high value or worth in any case, he's a simp. He's got a woman.
Honestly, dude, most men are simps. I very rarely meet a dude in my real life that isn't a raging simp.
Yeah, but then you've got to consider on the other hand, like any man that isn't like that, any man that is remotely based, he's usually the evil guy and he's defeated by a simp who wins via the power of simping.
Yeah, but the simps never win, though. And all this kind of reminds me of a story at work about a year ago. I was talking to one of the girls that I work with. We were kind of cool, and I brought up how Leonardo DiCaprio breaks up with the girl every time she turns 25, and I was laughing about it. Dude, you should have seen the look on her face. She looked at me like I was fucking a Hitler because I thought it was the funniest thing ever, and she was 30, so that's why.
Yeah, well, you basically told her that you're 5 years too old for Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, I was
Like
like,
they all fucking dream of meeting a celebrity in a random bar and getting handed the hotel room key, no matter how old they get.
Yeah, and this girl, she was 30, two kids from two different Pookie and Ray Rays, and it's like, yeah, like fucking. Oh yeah, and she tried to tell me, "Oh, I think I'm getting better looking the older I get." I'm like, "No, no, you cannot
Yeah.
compete with your 20-year-old self."
As like, okay, like you can think that all you fucking want, but you are not the one who determines your value. Like you don't go. This is a fucking analogy that I think works great now. You don't go to the gas station and tell the attendant what you think the gas is worth.
Yeah, I tried to tell her that, and she just basically looked at me like I was Hitler. So I thought it was funny though.
Well, and it is because like, you get this sense for the fucking delusion that they're in because in their minds they're all a fucking Wonder Woman. They're all this amazing, super smart, super brave, super heroine who is incredibly strong, can take on everything, but at the same time is so hard done by in a world that just won't give her a chance.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of another story. About a week ago, I seen this girl on social media. She was in her 30s, single mother with a few kids, and she was crying about dating in her 30s. And I posted something because, I got to be a dick. Oh, you should have settled down when you were young and hot and fertile. And then fucking it turns into an argument. But I'm just like, I'm just doing it to be a troll for the shits and giggles. And Yeah, she's like, I got hundreds of dudes in my inbox. I'm like, yeah, so do fat girls. All fucking women have hundreds of dudes in their inbox. But have any of those dudes committed? No.
Yeah, like, congratulations. You are seen as the fucking neighborhood slur. Like, look, most dudes are not going. Okay, if you find a chick tied up in a bathroom with fuck me written on the inside of her legs, most guys will fucking put on a rubber and smash the shit out of that. They're not going to put a ring on first.
Yeah, but these girls think just because a guy will smash that they'll commit.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, I mean, if you could drill one thing into a woman's head from the instant puberty starts to hit, is like, just because a guy will fuck you doesn't mean he wants to marry you. It's
Yeah,
like,
and I think
just,
it gets to their head because if you think about it, as soon as they turn legal, they got the cheat codes for life. It's like playing Grand Theft Auto, and you just fucking hit all the codes, and they live life on easy mode. They get attention, money, dick, pretty much whatever they want, and then once the wall starts to approach, and men aren't blowing up their phone all day every day. That's when it sinks in.
yeah, well, they think the ride's going to last forever. And again, it kind of makes sense because, like, even before puberty hits, they're still getting basically everything they fucking want. Like, this was a thing that Louis C.K. said that, like, it kind of really hammered home the heights of simpery that even young girls get. Like, so one of his daughters, like, her doll broke, and his daughter said that her father, Louis C.K., needed to break one of her sister's dolls so it would be fair.
What?
And he did it.
What?
He broke a child's toy to satisfy one of his daughters. He fucking hurt his other daughter, who did absolutely nothing wrong, to make it fair for his one daughter.
What did he say after that? Did he say anything?
In the comedy skit, he was basically pointing out that, like, guys will break your stuff, women will break your soul.
Oh yeah, dude, fucking I've seen girls at my work. There was this girl. She was there was like, how you always got like the work couple that are dating. Well, this dude was like, I was kind of cool with him, but he was like a pretty big blue pill simp. And he was fucking dating this girl, and she just tried to make his life miserable. She would flirt with other dudes at work in front of him. She would fucking just do everything. This dude tried to kill himself multiple times over this girl, and she ended up leaving him for another dude at work, and he like tried to fucking hang himself. And it's like she just thought it was funny, which was the fucked up thing.
Yeah, that's the thing that, like, guys don't want to get. Like, they want to believe that women are good. Like, that's what's so hard about it, is like, men at their core, they want to project everything fucking wonderful onto women. And it makes sense because, like, when you look out into the world and you see something that is beautiful, it's usually because it's a good thing. Like, we're hardwired to like things that are pretty and beautiful, like clean water, open meadows, nice trees, a clear ocean, that kind of stuff. And we're naturally repulsed by things that fucking smell like ass, like garbage, sewage. We have
Well,
these
yeah, and
things
if you
ingrained.
think about it, our whole lives too, growing up, we were told by society and our parents and everybody that women are sugar and spice and everything nice, and they can't do no wrong, and their fucking farts smell like fucking rainbows or whatever. And it's like, so once you get to that realization to where no, they're more like fucking demons in high heels, a lot of guys can't handle that. And that also kind of reminds me of the conversation I had with my dad today, where I pointed out how women initiate 80% of the divorces. And my dad was like, well, that's because the men cheat on the women. I'm like, oh my fucking God, I cannot deal with you.
Yeah, that's the it's so predictable. Like we know exactly what kind of bullshit that they're going to spew out before they even spew it out.
Yeah. And like I was gonna tell my dad. Well, I didn't want to tell him. I didn't tell him about the red pill, but I kind of wanted him to like point out the stats. But the last thing I need him is to like find my channel and be like, "Hey, that looks like my asshole son." And then next thing you know, I'm getting yelled at. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god.
the
Yeah. Go
pictures I
like.
actually use are mine. So
Yeah. Yeah. Ghost sure at the Grey Ghost. Crocodiles are easy. They try to kill you and eat you. Women are harder. Sometimes they pretend to be your friend first. And that's exactly why it works so bad. Like women, like men are naturally hardwired to like women. Like if all women looked like fucking 300-pound obese ass land whales with fucking ugly ass everything, then it would be very easy to convince guys that they're horrible fucking people.
well, let's go a step further. If their poon yeeties and all their fun holes disappeared, what would be the benefits of interacting or talking to them?
Oh no, like that's yeah, no, that's straight up the yeah part of it. But okay, if you weren't ever like let's go completely into hypothetical mode here. If a guy was never told about bumping uglies together, if he like if for all you know he just thought that like women were dudes with tits and that they had like a junk down there, they'd still find the feminine form attractive. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, because that just
fucking
comes down to
femboys are
biology.
like fucking femboys are proof of that shit. Let's be honest. Like they literally can
Oh,
have a dick down there, and guys will still think, "Oh yeah, that's hot." But that's the thing,
yeah,
because
I
it's
just like to
all
pretend
about
like boys don't exist.
the thing. Like but it's all about the proportions and the appearance, and it's built into like men hardwired. They're naturally attracted to the curves, the proportions, the slender figure. They want that on a subconscious level, and so they project, well, I like it, therefore it must be good because everything else I like is also good. And it takes a while for that kind of deception idea to actually sink in. And most guys are too far gone by that point because they've probably devoted so much time and energy and thought to thinking that women are good that then they have to start making excuses because otherwise it would admit that they've been fooled by their biology and they probably let a lot of shit slide that they really shouldn't have.
Yeah, and every time you deal with a woman or a woman tries to talk to you or whatever, there's a motive behind it. She's just not doing it to be nice.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like when you deal with them enough, no matter what age, you realize women suck at direct communication. They want you to do things, but they don't want to be the ones to tell you to do it. It's like someone's constantly trying to incept an idea into your mind.
Well, yeah, it's like another thing with women is they will never ask you out. This is how a woman shoots their shot. They hang around you enough to where you get the hint and then you ask them out.
Yeah, or they say, "Hey," and that's them shooting their shot.
Yeah, because I remember I was working this music festival. I work music festivals in the summertime. It was before the coof. And this one girl, she was a security girl. She looked like the girl from Twilight. She was pretty cute. And I guess she was obsessing over me all summer. And I had no clue at all. And I had a friend who was also a security guard. And he goes, "Oh, so and so won't shut up about you. She keeps talking about all the things she would do to you." And she happened to walk by as he was telling me this. Her face turned all fucking red. But it's like we ended up hanging out the following weekend and hooking up. But it's like we could have been doing that fucking all summer long if you just said something. But they won't.
Yeah, God, no. I've been called oblivious more or less my entire life because I've straight up had like guys and even the occasional girl say like, "That girl was totally into you. Like she wanted you. She actually came up and asked if you were single when you went off to the bathroom that one time." And I'm like, I'm fucking doing shit. I'm not looking around trying to see if a girl's giving me choosing signals here. I got other shit
You
going
think
on.
women are just terrified to ask out men because they're terrified of the rejection?
I do think that's part of it, but I don't think that's all of it. I think that
What would you say the rest of it is?
is that they like the tension. Like they like that butterflies, pins and needles, like drama pining. Like
But wouldn't they get more of the attention if they just fucking asked you out, like, "Hey, I like you, let's hang out"?
but then the tension is released. Like
Oh
think of
yeah,
like a horror movie. Like you have like the build up prior to the jump scare. You have that moment of quiet, of tension, of where's the monster, when's it gonna pop up. Like women love that shit. I'm positive that's why they're so attracted to horror games. They love A, the feeling of helplessness because they're not responsible for shit, and B, they love the emotional tension. And so
yeah.
like they'll ride it out and run like honestly, like I've seen a fair bit of like shojo like anime throughout my life and read the storylines, and so much of it is fucking romantic tension where you'll go for fucking chapter after chapter after chapter, and every potential resolution to the relationship is always fucked with and interrupted, and it's kicked down the road. Women love that shit. They love the conclusion not being there because they can fantasize about the perfection, but they never have to commit to it and deal with the reality of it.
Another fucked up thing I realized that women do. You're right. So that one girl I told you about, I hooked up with that from the music festival. Well, anyways, the following weekend, she came to my house. She stayed the whole weekend at my house. We like went out to eat. I fucking smashed her a bunch of times. So 2 days later, she texted me, "We should just be friends." I'm like, "Oh hell no, bitch! I ain't fucking being friend zone." I'm like, "We are hanging out and hooking up or whatever, or we're not fucking doing this at all." And I think what happened was all summer she thought I was out of her league, and then when she finally got me, she was like, "All right, off to like the next dude," kind of like, "All
But
right, I don't know.
but no,
I don't
and
know if
that's
I'm
it.
doing the right."
But that's exactly it. Like that's why she didn't approach you, because once she did, either A, you'd have the success and it'd be a couple days of fun, which is what ended up happening, or B, you'd reject her and then she'd be sad and depressed. But instead, she got an entire summer of fantasizing about you, which in the end gave her a shit ton more of that dopamine hit than she would have if she'd like tried to hook up with you and then gotten bored after a couple days
Yeah,
than
and
she
then
would have
she
had the rest
got
of the
me,
summer.
and then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go find somebody else to fuck." And it's like, what the fuck, bitch? How can you literally obsess over somebody all summer, get them, and like, "Oh fuck this, I'm gonna go be a whore somewhere else now." Like it makes no sense. Like if a when a guy, say it was vice versa and it was me obsessing over her all summer, like typically guys wouldn't do something like that.
No, like that's the thing. But like guys, we have that like dedicated commitment. We invest in order to achieve a goal.
Another
A
funny thing
woman,
is, there was this fucking one of my brother's friends was like, he's like the biggest leftist soy boy ever. He was trying to get with her all summer, and he was like buying her things and telling her how pretty she was and shit. I didn't say fucking two words to this bitch all summer until I found out she wanted to fuck me, and then this dude was all pissed off because I got her to my place. And it's like, well, don't be a leftist soy boy.
yeah, it's like, dude, you'd spent that same fucking time and money bulking and getting jacked. She probably would have gone to you. Period. Like,
But it's just funny because I was the guy that showed her indifference, no attention at all, and she's obsessing over me, not this soy boy that's literally giving her everything she wants at every festival.
well, that's because there's no mystery there. There's no ambiguity to it. Like, she knows that all she has to do is say yes to this guy, and he'll jump in the fucking sack with her, and fuck, probably even give her a ring or some shit. There's no mystery. There's no tension. There's no emotional will he, won't he. And that's what they fucking love. It's crack. I swear
Yeah.
you could probably look at it and be like, yeah, this is their mind on drugs. This is their mind when they're pining over a dude but not jumping into it. Huh, it looks pretty fucking similar.
And honestly, dude, I'm just like so over games like that because like men, we're logical. We know what we want. And like with women, it's just like you never fucking know what you're gonna get, dude. And that's why I just don't care anymore. It's like you either like me or you don't like me. There's no fucking, oh, we fucked, but now I don't know all this bullshit. Like, no, fuck you. I don't have time for these games.
Yeah, and that's why I don't even bother these days. Like, it's like fuck, I wouldn't even commit a fucking weekend to one of them because like I got shit to fucking do. My time is limited as it is. I do not have free fucking evenings or weekends to deal with being some fucking broad's entertainer. I have actual things to get done.
The attitude, I was going monk mode for a while, but the attitude I kind of have now is I'm doing my own thing. I'm focused on my path, my purpose, getting in shape, planning my off-grid move to the big island of Hawaii. But if something falls in my lap, sure, I'll have fun. I'll take advantage of it, but I'm not looking for it at all. And the moment she fucking pisses me off, she's gone. I deal with no bullshit from these women.
Yeah, honestly, like the level of fucking falling in lap that it would have to be for me to spend any time would be like, it's like, no, I'm not taking your ass out to dinner. I'm not dedicating a couple hours of the evenings to talk with you. Like, you want to get under the desk and give me some head or whatever while I'm working on something else? Okay, fine. But then you get your ass out.
And then like the last chick I hooked up with was when I was on the island and she just proved like they're no different over there. We hooked up and then like after we're like, small talk and she's like, "Oh, if you move over here and we start dating, could you afford a girl like me though? Because I spend hundreds of dollars getting my hair and nails done every month." And I'm just looking at her like, "Bitch, I wouldn't fucking pay for that shit."
Yeah, like, it's like, why? Why? So many of them, like, they do get their fucking hair done on a regular basis. Like, the barber's lucky if he sees me twice every 6 months.
Dude, I know girls that got a different hair color every week.
Yeah, just
But just the audacity for me to date her, basically what she was hinting at is I would have to basically like pay to get her hair and nails done and shit. Like, I ain't fucking paying for that. The last time I heard you guys were strong and independent, you can pay for your own goddamn fucking hair and nails.
yeah, or do it like a fucking man and either A, look after that shit yourself or get a look that doesn't require fucking maintenance every goddamn day.
Well, that's the thing, though. They want the maintenance. They want the flashy nails. They want
That's
the fucking crazy
Now, honestly,
purple Kool-Aid
I don't
hair.
even honestly, I don't even think that they want the result. I think they just want to be fussed over.
Yeah.
Like, because let's be honest, like what they want is they want someone to fuss over them, and then they want a bunch of people to compliment the result. But like, how many women will get like a fucking hairstyle done and it's like, okay, well, that's not going to last past your next fucking bedtime. So you blew like 40 some odd dollars or whatever to get fussed over for an hour, maybe a couple hours of people complimenting your haircut, and then no one's going to give a shit the next day and you're going to want it again. It's a drug. It's a fucking
Yeah,
like,
and it's a waste of money.
that's the thing. It's drugs. Like they're addicted to it the same way that you'd be addicted to fucking crack.
Fuck, at least if you're fucking doing drugs, you get a feeling or something. This shit is just retarded.
Well, no, but that's the thing. Like it's retarded to us because we're guys and like, we don't get the same rush that they do. Like just like they can't possibly be red pilled and understand how a guy experiences the world, we have to admit that we cannot understand how women truly experience the world. So I'm willing to bet that whatever emotions A guy feels like we can feel them deeper because we commit more into it. But I feel like with women, it's far broader, especially given the brain structure differences. And I believe it's the same with soy boys as well. I go on and on about the corpus callosum, like the part of your brain that divides your logical half from your emotional half. And I've done a bit more research, and yes, it does actually correlate directly to testosterone levels, where it is thicker, and thus you can compartmentalize more the more testosterone you have in the body. And that's, I
Yeah,
think,
and
why, and that's why we see, I think, so many similarities between women, children, and soy boys. It's because they all have much thinner corpus callosums, and thus the emotions that they have bleed over into the logic a lot more.
well, yeah, men are weaker than they've ever been, dude. Guys, like I've seen articles and studies where your average like young man has fucking test levels that are like that of a 60-year-old. So
Well, and it's understandable because, well, manual labor is so far down, and then that's not to mention like all the shit in the food and whatnot, because like God
yeah,
knows
and
what's in
Gen
all of this
Z
stuff.
is absolutely fucked. I walked into a Subway about 2 weeks ago. Every single one of those fucking Gen Z kids was a non-binary hobgoblin or fucking trans or some sort of fucking weirdo, and I was just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, I very rarely meet one Gen Z guy that's actually pretty based, but that's like they will openly acknowledge, oh yeah, by and large, like my school, my grade, my generation's completely fucked. So like they see it.
Remember when they said that Gen Z was supposed to be the next conservative based generation? Oh, what the fuck happened to that?
Well, let's be
Now they're
honest.
all
The fucking
trans and non-binary.
fucking public school got a hold of them that way. Because like basically it was the whole idea was, well, the kids are going to rebel, and since liberalism is currently the mainstream, then they're going to go against the mainstream and counterculture, and it's going to be cool to be a conservative again. It's like, well, no, being a conservative is still boring as fuck. It didn't become cool, but instead they're going to go to the more extreme fucking subcultures. And then you also have to look at, well, how's everything split up between the fucking parents and shit? It's like, single motherhood didn't fucking disappear just because it's not cool anymore to be a liberal.
Isn't the single motherhood rate in the white community like 40% now? I can't remember.
I don't know exactly, but I know it's growing. It's
I
starting to
think it's
catch up to.
around 40%. In the black community, it's like 74, close to 80%. And yeah, just like it started in the black community and now it's fucking spread into every other community.
Yeah, honestly, we need kind of Yeetus on here to like really do a deep dive into why that is. But like you've got this controlled population that they can just constantly fucking experiment with various bits of legislation. It really is like a test group.
Yeah, it always does seem like they experiment on the black community first and then it goes over to the other communities. I don't know if that's not true, but that's what I'm seeing so far.
Well, funny thing, like one of TFM's charts, which I'm gonna have to like really dig through his videos to try to find all his fucking gold mines of charts and graphs. But one was, you know how like when they point out the wage gap, it was like, well, no, it's just white women that make 70%. Like these women of color make even less. It's like, okay, yeah. And that correlates directly to the single motherhood rates.
Do your parents still believe in the wage gap? My dad still believes in the wage gap. I try to point out all the fucking stats we talk about, and he's like, no, the wage gap's real. And I'm like, if the wage gap is real, how come they're not hiring all women? And then I would try to tell him, like, men pick higher paying, more dangerous careers where women, they don't want to work the overtime and they take off time to have babies. And most women, they want the easy jobs. I can't tell you how many times I talk to women where they say they want to do jobs like fucking cosmetology or nails or something that just like is absolutely easy as fuck.
That's the thing. I always tackle this kind of stuff from a roundabout way because I tried the direct stuff back when I first learned about the red pill, and it was basically slammed in my fucking face. So now I go at it from a peripheral side, so I don't get confronted directly on it, but I can get them to freely acknowledge that, there's not going to be a lot of women in construction. And they'll say, and some of my relatives will acknowledge, like, yeah, yeah, no, women aren't as physically strong as guys. I also like, they're not completely delusional that way, but it's always got to be framed in a very subtle way because they're not thinking about it logically. It's all about the emotions. So I've learned more or less how to manipulate the conversation
How
to
would you
getting them to
tell
agree with me.
how would you tell the guys in the chat to interact with blue pill normie family members? Like say they're at like Thanksgiving or whatever, and their fucking family starts bothering them about a marriage and a girlfriend and all this shit. Like how would you deal with that?
Uh, First of all, don't take a confrontational attitude about it. Like the instant you get aggressive, the hostilities are going to come out. They're going to feel threatened and defensive.
Yeah, I think that's my problem. I always just turn into a dick because it just like pisses me off, and I'm just like go scorched earth on them, and probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, like the idea, like the phrase, it is what it is, goes a very long way. Like if you kind of say it like, okay, so here would be an example is like, yeah, honestly, like I just don't think I'm gonna be able to get a job in one of these major indoor tech companies. Like outdoors, I'm competing with just guys because there's a limited amount of like people in general, but it's going to be more guys than women applying to construction work. Whereas any indoor tech job, like I'm going to be competing with women. Like just double the audience there. The odds really aren't in my favor. Like that kind of just casual, non-committal, laissez-faire bit, they'll agree because like there's no confrontation and you're able to kind of get it out in a roundabout sort of way. Whereas if you were like, I have no fucking chance because all these women are taking these office jobs, they'll get fucking defensive. They'll get so fucking defensive and start to counter with all kinds of excuses. It's all about manipulating their emotions to get them to accept the logic.
Yeah, and in a way, it's almost like dealing with women because you gotta fucking deal with their emotions and not fucking piss them off or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to treat all blue pillars as though they're women. That's it. Just is what it is because they all are accustomed to a woman's mindset. Especially if they've been around or lived with women for an extended period of time, they tend to get stuck in that shit. The only guys I've met that I can have like straight up brutal conversations with are usually guys who have been single and on their own for an extended period of time. But as soon as there's one dude who's got a wife or a girlfriend, now you may as well just start talking to a woman at that point.
Yep, just like the friends where say you're going fishing or whatever, they have to check in with their wives. It's like, dude, you're a fucking grown ass adult. You gotta check in with your wife like you're a fucking 2-year-old.
Yeah. It's like, oh god, you're providing emotional support for your girlfriend while she deals with her fucking ex, and that's how you're spending half your fucking workday. It's like, whatever, dude. You fucking do you. I don't give a shit so long as you fucking show up and do your goddamn job.
Did you see that one video where the guy, I forget where he worked, but he had to fucking video himself of working so his girl made sure that he wasn't talking to any other women?
Jesus fucking Christ. I haven't seen that video, but I believe it. Like, the amount of fucking bullshit that guys put themselves through thinking that, well, if I just do this, then she'll stop nagging me and leaving me alone and she'll be satisfied. It's like, no.
They are never satisfied.
That's the problem, because guys, they keep thinking that women will think the way they do. They keep thinking like, oh, well, if I was in her position and I asked for this, it would be because if this was done, then it would satisfy me and I would be okay with it.
What is that saying that you said a while ago? Uh, give women heaven.
Give a woman heaven and she'll complain about the view. Give a woman hell, she'll offer to pay the rent.
Yep. I remember you commented that on one of my videos a while ago. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. Can't take credit for making that one up. I'm pretty sure I dug it out of someone else's comment, but it's fucking stuck true.
Well, it's kind of like one of the best relationships I ever been in. Our whole relationship was a fucking was an experiment. I kind of just like was a dick and seed like what I could do to the point where she would break up with me. And she just like, the more bullshit I did, the more I cheated on her, the more I treated her like shit, the more she couldn't get enough. But vice versa, where there's relationships that I was in where I did everything society told me, I tried to be the best guy I could be, those girls fucking left me for the guy that treated them like shit. And then this girl is talking about wanting to have my fucking kids, and it's like, why? I'm treating you like pure dog shit.
But that's the thing, because it's the emotional high. Like, think about all the fucking horrible people that people who are addicted to drugs will put up with. Like, so long as they have access to their drugs, access to their high, they'll do all kinds of nasty fucking shit and ruin their fucking lives over it.
And that's also kind of like, if you let a woman know like you are replaceable, they're going to be on their best behavior, to where like if your head is always up their ass.
Yeah. But again, like, I mean, honestly, this would be the kind of thing that you'd want to fucking strap some women up to a bunch of medical machinery to run the tests on them. But I'm positive that the drug analogy is the solution to like, why do women act the way they do? Is like, they act in a way that stimulates them, and they do all this horrible illogical shit because it's a drug high. Like, they're literally getting high off of emotions.
Well, yeah, they're emotional based creatures. That's one reason why I'm so glad I'm a male, because I cannot even imagine fucking being in that process of emotions all the time, dude. It's got to be exhausting.
Honestly, I think that the best way to think about it would be hard drugs. Like doing like fucking LSD or something on a regular basis. And then like think about that. Think about it like, if from the moment that you gain sentience, you are being given like fucking ecstasy, LSD, and crack, like, for 30 fucking years, and then your supply of it starts to dry up.
Oh, yeah, you'd be emotionally unstable.
And that explains why they're all on fucking head meds, doesn't it?
Yep. And like, if you think about it, it's kind of like when they hit the wall, it's like they're losing their drug. So it's like from the time they're 18, they're all fucking drugged up, and then fucking they hit 30, and it's like they lost their supply and nobody wants to fuck them anymore.
No, dude, it doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't start at 18. It starts when they're children. It
Well,
starts
yeah,
like the moment, like fucking age 3. They get fucking 27 years of being on hard drugs, and then the supply starts to dry up. Like, it's just that by 18 they get access to even harder
And again,
gross.
does the drug ever dry up? Because 40-year-old women are fucking loopy too.
Well, no, that's the thing. It does. It does go. It goes down, but it's not like it dries up 100%. They just can't get as much, and they're so numb to it. Like if you give a 40-year-old like marijuana for the first time, they're probably going to react fucking batshit crazy and go like oopa loopa loopy, and it's going to be the greatest fucking thing they've had. If you give it to someone who started with marijuana at the age of 5 and progressed to like fucking like ecstasy, LSD, and crack all at the exact same time, and then at the age of 30, we're like, okay, we're cutting off the fucking crack, heroin, LSD. All you get is weed now. They'd lose their fucking mind. They'd be
Yeah,
like,
for
this doesn't
sure.
fucking do it for me anymore. I'm used to the harder shit. I may as well be sober.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I see chat asking, am I taking callers? Not for this stream, guys. This is just a one-on-one with Hermit to help get his channel numbers up and a bit of a late night stream. I've actually got to be up kind of early in the morning, so we're only going to go for another half hour or so. But if there's
Yeah,
demand for more callers in, then I'll work on getting a StreamYards or something together and probably do something else this week. And of course, I'll be popping in on Yeetus's stuff, so there's that too.
yeah. Once again, thanks for having me on, Gray. Unfortunately, the streams that we did on my channel are probably gone when Susan nuked it, because I know me, you, Real Talk, and Carry On, and Father Saunders, and some of the other guys, we had some pretty good conversations on my stream. I'm on my 4th channel, dude. It's getting annoying trying to fucking rebuild it every time. My first channel, I showed my face on my first channel. I got up to 500 subs. Fucking was talking about the coof. It got nuked. And then fucking, I forget what I did on my fucking 2nd channel. And then my 3rd channel just got nuked. And it's like, it's to the point now where you have to walk on eggshells to not get deleted off of YouTube.
I'm just going to spam your channel in the chat for a little bit.
Yeah, and for the guys in the chat that don't know me, I mainly just like kind of do funny shorts. Every once in a while, I'll get some guys together, like Gray, Real Talk, some other guys in the community, One Fast Stack, and we'll like bullshit and do live streams. But I kind of just do this because this community has done a lot for me, and there's a lot of good dudes and good channels and good people in this community. So
Yeah, it's always good. I'm really thankful for this community and to be allowed into the warband, because this is the only place where you can have these kinds of in-depth discussions. And I've learned things even from just talking with the guys in the comment sections. Like it wasn't
yeah, oh yeah,
until I think,
congrats on being officially let into the warband too, Gray. That's pretty awesome, man. Those are some good guys.
yeah, they are. And but even like good guys in the chat, like honestly, I'm gonna straight up thank the guys in the chat. I think Mr. Pliskin is among them. That like I honestly didn't know that there are no actual references to purgatory in the Bible, just allusions at most. And so I was like,
Oh,
oh
they don't
shit.
mention it in the Bible?
No, apparently no. There's no actual mention of purgatory by name. At most, a vague hint, but no, purgatory is not biblical canon from anything I've been able to find.
What about in what is it, Dante's Inferno or whatever? Is
That's the
that in a
thing.
Bible?
That's the thing. Like that, like Dante's Inferno is a lot more allegory in it, and it does mention purgatory, and that's where I was led to believe that okay, hey, that's where purgatory comes from, but technically, no, purgatory is not biblical canon. And technically, the 9 circles of hell, I don't even think are biblical canon either. That's all Dante with his poetic license and breaking into like the depths of the human mind and the layers of morality and its failings. Honestly,
Yeah,
like lectures,
there's
like I've
so
got a lecture on Dante's Inferno where it's broken down line by line and some of the meta analysis is brought in. It's fascinating stuff, but it's less biblical canon and more so allegory for human morality.
Yeah, I'm personally not religious, but I've always been fascinated with like religion and especially like the old religions of the past, like Norse mythology, Egyptian, fucking all those. And even though I'm not religious, there are good stories in the Bible that you can learn from.
Oh, absolutely. Regardless of how literally you want to take it, it is a valuable source of stories which can provide a lot of insight into the human condition.
Yep. And also it's kind of crazy how these old holy books, especially the Abrahamic religions, were extremely red pill. It's like they knew female nature back then.
Well, yeah, well, back then, they couldn't, like, times were a lot harder. They couldn't really afford to do all this bullshit. Also, just a slight thing for Cyrus in chat. I don't know if we have anyone in the source filmmaker. Personally, I'm using Unreal Engine 5 right now, but I wouldn't even say that I'm a skilled animator in it. I just use it for like, a lot of 3D environment building and lighting.
But what else you got planned for your channel, Gray? Got any type
Well,
of content you want to do?
I'm working on a more in-depth, higher quality video on the Golden Lie. I've got the script done for it. Next, I need to figure out how I'm going to do the graphics, like to make a proper polished video and actually get the recording down. There's also Flappy Frog, which is going to be just a free warband themed mobile game. That's currently in development. It just keeps getting pushed back because I need to spend like a couple serious hours
Like a game
diving
for
into
your
it.
phone?
Yeah, like basically Flappy Bird, but like right now it's got Ribby and he's dodging beer bottles.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, so I'm working on kind of the bare basics, but then of course I'm like, well, I could tweak this and make a level progression system, and who says it has to be one life and then you die? So yeah, I'm gonna pretty much try to put out
Once
something.
once I get my channel back up to where it kind of was before, I want to do some more fitness streams. I want to grab there's a couple other guys in the community that are pretty good at knowledgeable on fitness, and I kind of want to break down cutting, bulking, different workout programs that actually work because a lot of times people they get started, they don't know about because basically it's just manipulating your calories and being on a good workout program. But people, their calories and their protein are all over the place. And like I'll talk to most guys when they get started and I'll ask them what their workout program is. And normally they tell me a bro split, which bro splits are the worst fucking workout program to do because you're only hitting the muscle once a week. You want to either be doing an upper lower full body or push pull leg program because these are the type of programs where you're hitting the muscle 2 to 3 times a week. And like there's so much misinformation out there when it comes to like health and fitness, and a lot of guys just don't know where to get started. That's why I was posting on my old channel a lot of free workout programs so guys could copy those or print them out and they'd have a good solid workout program to follow.
Yeah. Well, another thing, like particularly with nutrition, this is what I'm finding is probably going to work for me really well, is like not to overcomplicate it too much. Like get used to doing boring shit. Like once you understand, okay, this meal has this many calories and this many grams of protein, then you can calculate, okay, if I have this meal every day, then I know this is dealt with. If I have
Yeah, that's another
this
thing
many
you said. Guys overcomplicate this so much. Like a professional bodybuilders will count every gram of protein, carb, fat. If you're just a normal dude and you're not competing, but you still want to get in shape, the only thing you really need to do is count your protein because protein is the most important macronutrient, and then keep your carbs and fats moderate. So like, say you need to eat 4 meals a day, Just kind of make sure every meal has your protein, carbs, and fats, and make sure it hits whatever your caloric intake is for the day.
Yeah. And I think
But
also like
guys,
consistency of the meal. Like it's much easier to count your calories if you have the same thing for breakfast every day, the same thing for lunch every day, the same thing for dinner every day with very little variation.
yep.
Because then
And
you can just
another thing is you don't have to eat the cleanest foods either. A lot of guys think you have to eat super clean every day, and you don't have to. Like, yeah, you should eat most of your food like clean, healthy foods that like grow on trees or fucking like, animals or whatever, like lean meats and shit. But like, say you need to lose weight and your maintenance. I'll use myself for example. To maintain my current body weight, I need to eat 3,000 calories every day. So if I want to lose a pound a week, I need to eat 2,500 calories every day. So it doesn't matter as long as I hit my protein intake to maintain my muscle. It doesn't really matter what the other calories are. Like if I sneak in a couple like donuts or a slice of pizza or whatever, it doesn't really matter because I'm still in a caloric deficit.
yeah, and that's something that I found looking up because like I'm a skinny bastard here, so I don't have a huge appetite and I got a really fast metabolism. And from what I've seen, like should straight up not be afraid to like eat some dirty stuff at the very
Yeah,
least because like the amount of fucking chicken and rice you need to eat to get equivalent number of calories
you be
to
eating all day, dude.
a slice. Yeah, exactly. You're eating all fucking day. The
When I first
quantities.
started, I was eating 6 to 7 meals of chicken and rice. And it just like it turned into a full-time job. It gets to the point where you have to sneak in some dirty, high-calorie foods just to be in a caloric surplus if you're trying to bulk up, or you're literally just going to be eating all fucking day and it just gets annoying. So like
Yeah.
there are times where I'm bulking. I'll like have a honey bun, dude. I don't even give a fuck. I'll have like a 600 calorie honey bun, and it just like easy, convenient to get in the calories. Like, yeah, is it the best thing for me? No. But when it comes to overall body recomposition, doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing too. Like I've like one thing I realized, like, I can just take a baked potato to work and eat it like an apple. And that's probably gonna give me a shit ton more calories than an apple would.
Yeah, there's only about 100 calories in an apple, so
Whereas if you have like a baked potato that like you fucking glaze with oil and put a bit of salt on, like yeah, you could probably eat like two of those during your lunch break and get way more fucking energy than you would eating like five apples.
dude, I'm to the point now where like I don't even see food anymore. I look at a meal and all I see is numbers. I'm like, oh, that's 60 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, 50 grams of fats. Like, I'm like Rain Man, dude. I've been doing this shit for so long.
Yeah, but that's really why like most guys aren't going to be at your level, and that's why I think it's important to give them a bit of a shorthand. Like this was the one thing that MyFitnessPal, I think its shortcoming was that you couldn't pre-save a meal. You had to enter each food individually and the quantity. It's like I do not have time for all this. I'd much rather just be like, this is the meal, have a sheet of paper, like a flashcard. This is what it has on, and be like, okay, so I ate that, I ate that, I ate that. Okay, this is how much I had today. Cool. Next day.
Yeah, when I'm cutting, I'll definitely eat the same meals every day just because it makes it easier. Because it's just so much easier when you don't have to think about it and you got the food made already and you can just grab it.
I'd say it's the same like for a skinny guy bulking because like some guys like they can eat a shit like they just can eat a shit ton. They have huge appetites, big stomachs, whatever. But like as a skinny guy trying to put it on, like I've got to focus on the most calorie dense meals that I can find. And also price is a thing too. Like I want to get big, but I don't want to spend like
Yeah, that's
fucking
for another guy.
$100 a week.
Look up videos on YouTube. There are a ton of them bulking on a budget.
No, that's
That's what I
exact.
did.
That's where I got this the recipe that I had for dinner tonight with like chili and baked potato. So I made a bunch of that, and that's gonna be like dinner. I made a huge fucking quantity. Like, this is going to provide me with most of what I'll need for the week, I'm sure.
Hell yeah, dude. And then eventually, within a couple months, your numbers will start going up for in the gym, like your weights and your reps and stuff. And it feels good, dude, knowing that you put in the work and like maybe you couldn't do any pull-ups, but now you can do 5. Like all that makes a difference.
Yeah. No, thankfully, I am at the point where I can do some pull-ups, and heck, I've even hit 10 for a set on some occasions. But
Hey, that's not bad, dude. That's not bad.
yeah, like I do try to aim for 10 to 15 reps. And if, like, say I'm on my dip bars and I'm like, well, shit, I can't quite do the number I want, but my chest doesn't feel like it's really gotten a workout, I'll just gently rest my toes on the ground and kind of have like assisted dips.
Now just wait until you get to the point where you can do weighted dips. When you can do weighted dips, dude, it feels so good.
Yeah, well, that's probably not going to be for at least another couple months, if not a year. But
I built up my weighted dips pretty good. I can do weighted dips and chin ups. Those are actually 2 of my favorite exercises.
yeah, I definitely feel that. Honestly, okay, here's the okay, actually, question about pull-ups, because you do a shit ton of those.
Yeah.
Where should your hands be spaced optimally?
Oh god, that's so hard to show you without showing you the bar or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. Like, relative to your shoulders, should your elbows be like perfect 90-degree angles? Should they be a little bit in? Should they be a bit further out?
I always try to just like put them a little past my shoulders, but yeah, without like showing myself in a pull-up bar, that's kind of hard to show right now, but yeah, I would say for most guys just kind of like YouTube it. But yeah, I always kind of just do it a little bit past my shoulders, kind of where it feels good.
Yeah, because one of the things, the pull-up bar I have, it's got like specific handles, and it always feels like they're just too far out to get like a proper pull-up. Like, I don't think I'm.
Yeah, they might be. I know what you're talking about. It's like it's got the specific space to put your hand. That's why I like the flat bars better because you can kind of put your hand wherever.
Yeah, so yeah, because that's what I do. Because I know that when it comes to these kind of compound exercises, like subtle positioning, like really makes a
Yeah,
difference.
that's
And
another thing that I noticed too is you said compound exercises. So a lot of guys in the gym, I'll go in there and they're doing all these isolation movements and they're not doing any compound exercises at all. And it's like 80% of your workout should be compound exercises like bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, push-ups, chin-ups, pull-ups, shit like that. You'll get 80% of your gains from those type of movements and like curls and flies and stuff. Like those are kind of like so your compound exercises are like the meat and potatoes and the isolations are kind of like the dessert on the side. Like yeah, the dessert's always good, but you don't really need it.
yeah, actually, we got Yogi No Abs in the comments here saying wide grips are harder, they target the lats more. Neutral grip is the easiest. Curl grip will work out your biceps more. Lean back slightly and bring the bar to your chest. Sound pretty consistent?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of chin-ups lately. I notice my fucking arms, dude. I barely even do curls anymore. My arms are just fucking blowing up from like weighted chin-ups.
Hmm. No, I'm still trying to get the curls. Like, I used to be able to do like 25, 30 pounds fairly consistently, but I've fallen off like in the past couple month or so, especially since I was on a severe caloric deficit. So I got to build
Well,
myself
if
back
you
up to
start
that.
doing chin-ups, you'll notice your arms start to grow from chin-ups. Like for guys in the chat, if you want a really good-looking warrior type physique, focus on incline bench or dumbbell press. I personally like incline bench better because I mean dumbbell because with the dumbbell presses you get more range of motion than you do with a bench, and then overhead press and chin-ups. Like those I think are the 3 best exercises for like a really good warrior type physique.
Hmm. All right. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. So, any sort of closing thoughts that we want to get to here? Like, any conclusions about like dealing with blue pill stuff in the family, or any like kind of final workout stuff you really want to tackle here? I'm gonna show
Well,
your
we'll
channel a
go
couple
back
more
to the
times.
the blue pill normie families. I would say for like the most part, just try to avoid it because you're never going to win an argument with your family. You're just going to turn into some kind of fight that you don't want to deal with to begin with. So if you can avoid it, avoid it. Um, I don't know what would you say about that, Gray?
I definitely say like if you need to have the kind of discussion where you need to explain why you're doing or not doing something, controlling the flow of the emotion for the conversation will matter much more than any logical statements you make. So always remain fairly neutral about it, fairly calm, and don't show that you're emotionally invested in it. Always be just kind of casual, like, is what it is. This is what I think. And if they challenge you on it, again, like just don't care. Don't show them that you care.
Yeah, and another thing
Because
is you can for most 90% you can point out every stat there is and they just won't believe it or they won't care. Like I remember I was showing my dad, I was pointing out all the stats and he's like, "Well, they could have just made that up." And it's like, "Oh my God." Like anything that I fucking it could have been like 10 articles showing the same thing and he would have just still said it was made up.
and that's the thing, because like they're thinking about it on an emotional level and they're trying to justify their emotional investments with logic. And so they'll jump to all the same logical fallacies and bullshit that they've had spewed at them. That's why this needs to be tackled on emotions first, logic secondary, if at all.
Yeah, and don't do what I did on a camping trip and go full TFM and say women shouldn't be able to vote because then your family will just assume you hate women and freak out on you when you're just supposed to have a good time camping.
Yeah, like if like honestly, if you want to introduce the kind of concept, like maybe go along the lines of like, you know, why do we give the exact same power to people who don't pay into the government system as those that do? Like introduce it in that kind of roundabout way where you're being very non-specific. Like yes, the implication is that, you know, majority of taxpayers aren't women, but by making it more about a taxation issue, you can get more people to kind of agree with it and see the logic because you're not attacking their sacred calf.
Yeah, and you kind of said the same thing, but like nicer. Because if you say it the way Gray did, they're more likely to agree with you. But if you go my route and go full TFM, repeal the 19th, they'll just look at you like you're a dick.
Yeah. Like so much like this will go I'll go more into depth when I actually get the Golden Live video done. But in short, treat people the way they want to be treated. You might prefer brutal honesty and people to tell you the straight truth with no bullshit or beating around the bush. Not everyone's like that. Most people aren't like that. They like to have their egos massaged and to be reassured that they're a good person before anything else. Once you can understand that this is what they want, then it becomes easier to understand how to interact with them.
Yep, I definitely agree, dude.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Evil Hermit, for coming on the show. I'm going to show your
Yep.
channel a couple more times in chat.
Yep, and make sure you guys sub to my channel before Susan nukes this one, Evil Hermit. The old one was Island Hermit because kind of moving off grid to the big island of Hawaii. I've been planning it for almost 3 years now, and everything's starting to come together. But yeah, great. I've always liked you. You're a good dude, and if I do any streams in the future, man, I'll definitely hit you up.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully, that's some point soon we'll be able to do some stuff. But I'm just going to play us out with that awesome beat Edis commissioned. So,
Dope.
all right, heading out. Peace out, Warband.
See you guys.